These are the plaintiffs, Elizabeth Koch and Brian Luty. They say the defendant repaired the transmission on their car, gave them a 1-year warranty, and then 5 days later, the car wouldn't go into gear. The defendant fixed it, and then a few days later, there was another problem. The crooked defendant won't honor their warranty and is nothing more than a lunkhead. They're suing for $2,055 for all they're out. This is the defendant, Gil. He says the plaintiff, Brian, abused the car, ruined the transmission, and that voids his warranty. The guy beat the heck out of that transmission by peeling out. He drove it when it was leaking oil, and everyone knows if you leak oil, you pull over and get a tow so it can be properly fixed. Some people. He's accused of not treating a tranny right.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case in the docket, the plaintiffs say that the defendant repaired their transmission but actually screwed it up. The defendant says one of the plaintiffs ruined the transmission himself. It's the case of one bad tranny.
Thank you, Douglas. Elizabeth Koch and Brian Luty?
Yes.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, and you are mother and son?
Yes.
All right, you are suing Gil. You've asked to be referred to only as Gil?
Yes.
Okay, and we'll do that. For $2,055, the amount that you paid him for a transmission job plus 2 tows, because according to you, he did not stand by his transmission warranty. What happened?
First time I brought it there, I got it there by driving it, and I had him.
Why did you take it to him?
I needed my transmission fixed. He said his father-in-law or brother-in-law or somebody was really good with transmissions, and he would have him fix it. So I brought it to him, and I gave him $700 right then and there. And the next day, my mom gave him $500.
All right, so he rebuilds the transmission, and that comes with a warranty, right?
Yes, it does.
A 1-year warranty. And when do you have your first problem with the transmission again?
About maybe a month after that, Your Honor.
And what happened?
I was driving home from work. I was almost home, and it started acting up, and it just didn't want to stay in gear. And I didn't know what to do, so I called my dad, and he said to just try to get it home because there was really nowhere to pull over on a shoulder. So I brought it home, and then when I looked at it, there was just transmission fluid all over the street.
How long were you driving it after you started having trouble with it?
I was only 5 minutes from home.
Okay. And when do you take it to him? You have it towed there?
The following day, I had it towed there.
All right. And what happens when you leave it at his, what does he say to you?
He said originally, Your Honor, that it was just a seal. Then about 4 days after that, he calls me up and tells me that it's possibly not the seal. So I go there, and as he's pulling it out with 3 of his friends and opens it up, there's a big hole in it. And he told me it was from wear and tear of driving it. When you looked at it, you could tell it was just held together with a bunch of silicone and that it was just bound to happen.
Okay, let me hear your side.
Well, Your Honor, he brought me the car 3rd week of November, and I told him it could possibly be a seal, axle seal or something like that, because that's what it looked like where the oil was leaking from. When we dropped the transmission, there was a hole in it, and the gasket is silicone for that assembly. That's how it is from the factory. And the differential had broken, which isn't part of the warranty, broke the casing, leaked all the fluid out, and he drove it and burnt the clutches and everything in the transmission. So it was no longer a serviceable or repairable transmission, because from driving it with no oil in it, you cook it.
Okay, so what did he do wrong? According to you, he drove it with no oil in it?
Yes, his exact words to me was, when I was getting on 78 as I left work, I felt a bang and it started acting up, and I tried to make it home because I didn't want to tow it.
According to him, he was 5 minutes from home.
Well, his exact words were something different to me.
How is that different, though? How do you know that's not 5 minutes, that he's supposed to be on that highway?
Because he works like in New Jersey. It's about an hour and a half away from his house.
Did you drive an hour and a half with the car in trouble?
No, Your Honor, it was 5 minutes from home when it happened.
Do you have a video you want me to see?
Yes, we do, Your
It's
Honor.
on your phone?
Yes.
Who's the gentleman with you?
That's my partner, George.
Just press play.
We built this transmission a couple months ago. He's been maliciously misconducting himself with the car, abusing it. He broke the differential the other day. This is from excessive abuse, a lot of accelerations from a dead stop, racing around. See, the is supposed to be completely inside. The bolt that retained this here is there broken. This just doesn't happen out of the blue. That wrist pin breaking caused this effect in the transmission casing, giving it a nice crack, causing it to leak all the oil out.
Okay. What do you say caused that hole?
The pin, when it comes out, breaks
The
the
pin of
casing.
what?
The differential. That's what broke the hole in the transmission.
So, did you ever show this to another mechanic? Mom, you step in now, I
Your
guess.
Honor, I'd just like to say the first time that I brought Gil the car.
No, I don't want to hear that. I want to hear what happened afterwards.
So the problem surfaces a month after they get the car back. Are they out of luck?
I would say no,
Because
because things could happen in a month. Like,
then you would say, yes, they're out of luck.
okay, so yes, they are out of luck.
Okay, I knew we'd get to the bottom of that.
I think
Okay, going inside the courtroom.
Okay, afterwards, when I walked into the gentleman who did who put a whole new rebuilt transmission, the first words he said to me is, "Who did this job?" I told him who did it, and I asked him why. He said, the whole transmission was siliconed so much that eventually when the seal busted, that's what would have happened.
I don't understand. Eventually,
Okay.
when the seal busted,
Right.
But the
He
seal, according to him,
siliconed all
the
this-
differential, the bolt from the differential came off. And why does that happen again?
Well, from hard acceleration from a dead stop.
Hard acceleration from a dead stop.
I have more detailed pictures if you'd like to see them.
Yeah, I would like to see him.
Usually when that happens, the car will stall and it won't start, but
The pin was missing when you saw it?
no, it was bent from being continuously driven. I kept it inside a transmission. There's wearing. You can see the scratches in the picture.
This is the hole,
Yes.
and the differential goes here?
No,
Come on over here.
okay, the differential sits in here.
In there.
Yeah, and this is where all the transmission, the part that we rebuild is over here.
Right.
This is
And then what was hitting that hole, making that hole happen? The pin?
yeah, the pin, this pin, when it comes out.
Well, how is that pin out, though, in the
Because,
picture?
the bolt broke loose. See the bolt sheared off.
So if I understand your testimony, the bolt came loose. The bolt could only come loose from excessive acceleration from a dead speed. You and I both know that
Harsh.
can't be true, okay?
Harsh
And that the
engagement.
bolt then made that hole.
Yes.
Now, here's my question. When you put in this transmission, or your uncle, whoever it is, put it in, he has to remove the differential in order to do it.
Yeah, everything's taken apart
Okay,
and cleaned.
how do I know you didn't just put it together wrong and that's how the bolt came loose? What evidence do you have of your theory that the kids... By the way, are you excessively speeding from a dead stop?
No, Your Honor.
Predictably, that's going to be his answer. So what is your evidence that it's his misuse as opposed to the way your guy put it back together?
It's an unserviceable item. It doesn't
I don't
get
care if it's
serviced.
unserviceable. I don't even know what that means. You're taking it out and putting it in. Now I've got intervention by you guys, and you're putting it together, and then the ball comes loose, but it's got to be him speeding as opposed to that you guys didn't put it together, right?
It doesn't get touched. It just gets removed.
It gets
cleaned,
touched. It gets
put back
removed.
in.
I don't know what you guys do with it when you're
There's no
removing it.
disassembly or reassembly of that part.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. It's not that I don't understand what you're saying right now. We don't touch the bolt. I understand what you're saying. But you touch something because you're taking it out, you're putting it in. And
Upon visual inspection.
upon visual inspection, you really need to bring me somebody else to testify to what you're saying to besides yourself because you're the interested party. Go ahead and go back to the lectern. I'm ruling in favor of the plaintiff in the amount of $2,055. That's my judgment.
Thank you,
Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I gotta say, that was really smart of the defendant to videotape the car and show what he says actually happened here. That isn't done a lot, and that can be very compelling. It was very effective. I guess the problem with that is he lost, but oh well.